Hi there, you are live on NutriCare Daily with me, Manuel. Today on this show, we are looking at another interesting topic that is affecting a lot of parents in Africa, and let's say maybe the world at large, but Africa is something that is really affecting us. Do you know why? Because in Africa, this condition is very difficult to control or manage, whereas in advanced world, they are able to manage it well. This topic I'm talking about is Down syndrome, otherwise known as autism. To help me do this discussion is our one and only Mr. Kofi Adams. Mr. Kofi Adams, you are welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Manuel.
Okay.
Glad to be here again.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. How have you been?
Not bad. I'm just trying to, manage in here. So it's been okay.
Wow, we thank God. Okay, so quickly, what is Down syndrome or autism?
Okay, so I believe most of our viewers have seen kids with Down syndrome or people with Down syndrome before, and then these are basically some we call it inherited or sex-linked diseases.
Okay.
Where there are issues with the chromosomes of a child, because you know that each person has 46 chromosomes.
Yeah.
When you meet a partner, you release 23, another also brings 23, and then it forms a 46 for one.
Yeah.
But then when normally we have a problem with the 21st chromosome,
okay,
that is where if there are mutations on the 21st chromosome, then it lets the child have what we call the Down syndrome, where they have these characteristic sort of phase and then characteristic signs that they have. So basically it's when we have issues with the 21st chromosome of a child.
Okay, so when we have an issue with the 21st chromosome of a child, in Africa we attribute that to superstitious beliefs that when a child is suffering from Down syndrome, we attribute it to in Chi they say or in Sioba. Yeah, so what will you say about that? Do you think there is a potential in a child suffering from autism, or they should just give up on the child?
All right. So one, I need to debunk that myth or misconception that it is spiritual.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with spiritual base.
Okay.
And as much as I come from the health background, it doesn't have any spiritual base. As I said, it is basically when there are issues or there are a bit of mutations on the 21st chromosome. And because sometimes you see that most of these parents that give birth to such children, they don't have the condition.
Okay.
But it is because of certain factors or certain few things that happened during the intrauterine development of a child. Sometimes you have these factors like use of certain drugs. That's why we normally say that when you are pregnant, if it hasn't been prescribed for you, you don't do it.
Okay.
Sometimes even exposure to these radiations.
Yeah.
You are a parent that you stay around these industrial areas that there are so much chemicals in the system. You are closer to these radiations. It alters the genetic mutations of a child.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with any spiritual base.
Yeah, and I love that part because when I was reading around it, I came across the radiation aspect. So you've talked about the causes in the introduction. What are some of the signs and symptoms of a child with Down syndrome?
So normally the first thing you get to see is that they have delayed developmental milestones. So then if you pick two kids, one who is a normal child and then the other with Down syndrome, you see that the one that is normal is growing at a normal rate. The one with Down syndrome could be about even 6-7 years and then still they haven't started walking. So that is one major challenge in here. They have issues with developmental milestones or developmental stages. It's so much delayed.
Okay.
Secondly, they normally have issues with their intellectual ability.
Okay.
So normally their cognitive development, how well they develop, is also curtailed. It is so much delayed. So then you see that if you compare the same child, one will be in about the secondary school, another is even struggling to even complete junior high school or even the primary school moving on. So that is another aspect of it. Then again also, you see that they have these facial expressions where the eyes are very wide apart from looking at the distance in between is very wide apart. They have a bit of funny face, a bit of those gestures that they have. Other times also they are walking itself also becomes, you see that they don't have a very good gait. But the main issue or the main thing that we need to know is that their growth is delayed, and then it affects everything about their development.
Wow. Affecting their development. There's this woman that I've forgotten her name. She's one woman doing exploits. She's autistic. I think either in IT. She's either in IT or business. I might not get it right. She's very autistic, but this woman is doing exploits, excellent, and her deliveries, too, though she struggles to speak, but her deliveries are on point. What conclusion can you draw from that, and also what can you tell parents with kids who are autistic?
Okay. So then, if you have a child that is having this, condition, that is not the end of it. I'm glad that you found that one person is having, doing so much in their field that they have themselves, and then myself, I've read about a few of them in the States and then other European countries that they're also doing so well.
This is what I'm talking about. Is a Ghanaian.
It's a Ghanaian, yeah. So normally it is about the support that you give to such children, though their development is very much delayed. Just look at areas that this child does well. So they get to see that they are very crafty. Most of them are very crafty. They're able to do certain few things for themselves, and then that is where the interest is. Then you need to help develop that very interest. So then if you're a parent, and then if you're a mother, you're a father, you have a child that has this condition, that is never the end. There are a whole lot of areas that they can explore. I think here in Ghana we have a school, the New Horizon, also, where I think that Jolu, where there are kids that with such conditions, Down syndrome, autism, all these developmental delays, they are being brought there, and then they have special training for them. So then we call them their special school or special children with special needs.
Okay.
We don't say that they have disabilities. No, I don't even agree to that.
Yeah.
They have special needs. I have my needs, they also have their needs. So then if you're a parent and you have such a child with us, that is never the end. Look at what they like best. Look at what they like doing more of the times. Then just develop that area for them. Okay,
so parents out there, it's very important you carefully look at your kids when they are growing up. You need to have time to study them, know their areas of interest, especially if the child is an autistic child. You really need to sit down and look at the baby, examine the baby. Where is the child? Where is the child's field? Is the child an art person? Is the child an IT person? You can find that in the kind of things they play around with. Those you can see some, they will be disassembling equipment and all of that. That one should tell you that this child might be an IT person. This child might be this child might be that. The fact that the child is not dead, it means there is a potential in that child. Having said that, what is the remedy to this situation?
Well, it's sometimes when I see this, it is a bit difficult to say that there is a cure for. You just would have to manage and then try and then live with them. So then basically, if it has to do with a condition that it's born on the gene or the genetic makeup of a person, you see, these are things that you can't really have control over them. My genetic makeup are things that it is fixed. They are things that from birth. These are the genetic makeups that I would carry on even to my next generation. So then normally when it happens that way, well, yours is just to be very careful with them. As I said, they have special needs. Even their diets, their feeding itself, you will need special skills to feed them.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand why you should feed them. They feel like my other colleagues are doing, why don't I also do it? So then if you have such a child, you will need a special care. You need a special hands on them. You have to be very tolerant. So basically, these are just a few things. They also grow up through the normal, so just as I said, theirs may be a bit delayed. So then you just have to look at ways that you would manage them, make time for them as a parent, basically.
Well said. What advice would you give to a mother who is battling with this situation? Every day the mother is being faced with the challenge of taking care of, let's say, a 17-year-old who should have been taking care of himself. The mother has to be battling with all these, bathing the person, feeding and all of that. it becomes draining, it becomes very stressful in emotionally. Most mothers are unable to cope with it. What can you tell them?
All right. So with such parents, the first thing that I would tell them is, I would just assure them. I know it is not easy. It will never be easy to go through such an ordeal. So then what we normally do is, psychologically, we sit with the parents and then we speak with them. We psych them. We counsel them that this is what you have, and it is not something that you expect that it would go off just overnight. You will have to live with it. So when you look at psychological counseling, look at speaking with the parents and making them understand the needs or the special needs of a child. If that is done, then again they will also need support.
Okay.
Because they can't do it alone.
Okay.
So they will need support from family members, from relatives, from family, and then even the external world. So then they will need a lot of, because sometimes these kids, they don't even know where they are. They actually know disorientated to where they are. They might get missing a whole lot. So then you would need to, be more closer to them all the time. Someone should be with them. So with such parents, you just have to encourage them that, and most importantly, they will need psychological and physical support as well.
So what are your final words?
Well, so what I would want to urge all mothers and then caregivers out there, those with children with Down syndrome, with autism, is that is not the end of the child, because these conditions, it will marvel you to know that such children have special potentials. So then if you have such a child, basically you will need support of your partner, you need support from the family, you need even support of everyone around you in the society. Such children are not spiritual children. They are not, as we say, or something. They are not. They are kids as equal and then as normal as any child that you would have. The only thing is that they have special needs, and then as a parent or as a caregiver, you need to ensure that you give them those needs. Okay.
They have special needs, and that makes them unique. This is how far time will allow us. So I come your way same time next week. It has been NutriCare Daily with me, Manuel. Thanks for watching.